You know, for the longest time, I have been trying to wrap my head around where Tom Hardy gets these accents from.
Nice little place you got here, Thomas.
I guarantee you that 160 days ride that way, there's nothing but salt.
Fuck Charlie, right? And fuck his brother, yeah? And fuck that fat Georgie Cornell that hangs out with him. Fuck your face, yeah? Yeah? I come here for a fucking shootout, right? A proper shootout with some proper men.
Is you playing with this little boy's mama? Huh?
It's Gerald!
Did you kill her? Hey, you can quit polishing that rifle when I'm talking to you.
I'm working on it. Are you British?
Yes, I am.
It's a crying shame.
Why?
Oh, no reason.
Well, you have neither the grace nor the humility to lose like a man, do you?
What is his source? Where does he just go? Like, where does he go in his mind to pull off these eccentric ass fucking accents? These voices that this guy does is just tremendous. He's in a world of his own when it comes to these voices, these accents that he does. And once again, Tom Hardy truly proves, with not little to no dialogue, but whether he has dialogue or no dialogue, Tom Hardy is just on screen in this film proving why he is one of them ones. Why he is one of the best actors working today. It is truly ridiculous what Tom Hardy can do when he steps on a movie set, and it's truly ridiculous what Jodie Comer can do when she steps on a movie set, and what Austin Butler is starting to do recurringly when he steps on a movie set, and that's show up and show the fuck out, which is what all these actors and actresses did as far as I'm concerned. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bikeriders. Hey guys, it's your guy in the chair here, and look, this is my review for the Bikeriders, starring Tom Hardy, Austin Butler, Jodie Comer, Mike Feist, and was written and directed by Jeff Nichols. And our story follows a biker gang who is led by Tom Hardy, and he has a close-knit relationship with his brother, Austin Butler. And basically what happens is, as this biker gang starts to expand and grow bigger and starts to branch out to other, what do they call them, chapters? Yeah. As they start to branch out to other chapters or in other states, basically they are starting to see their biker gang get out of control when they have a group of young guys starting to come in and just turn what their once wholesome, in quotations, wholesome biker group once was into a bunch of thugs. And that's just not the image that they were expecting when they first started this whole biker group. And that's basically the best way to explain it, just because, I mean, Jodie Comer is a part of the story as well. She is the love interest of Austin Butler, and I could describe it as a movie of when Austin Butler met her. That's when he kind of, she wanted to change his life, or he wanted to change his life, but that's not necessarily like the primary focus. The primary focus of this movie is on the biker gangs themselves. Jodie Comer is kind of just an additional part of the film, if that makes sense. Like, it's the way the story is told. She is of utter importance. She is a person who is Austin Butler's safety. She is someone who he feels like he can be his complete self around. He was madly in love with her, but one thing Austin Butler was hell-bent and dedicated to was his bike. And that's really, like, that's why I say, that's why personally for me, I think the entire main point of this story is surrounded by the biker gangs themselves. I think Jodie Comer is just an additional part. But regardless of that, this movie was not only one of my most anticipated movies of this year, but it was one of my most anticipated movies of last year until it got pushed back to this year, and I was pretty heartbroken over that. But I finally got to see it. And look, I'll say this. This movie did kind of not meet my expectations. I don't necessarily want to say it disappointed me, but it didn't meet my expectations fully, because what I was truly expecting was, I was truly hoping to walk away thinking that this movie was possibly going to be nominated for Best Picture, and the story structure and writing is not strong enough for me to completely walk away with that notion. But as far as the performances go, there are times when performances are a lot better than the movie itself, and This is one of those instances. Honestly, the performances in this movie are what not only make the movie, but they carry the entire thing. Literally backpack. The entire reason you're sitting in the theater in the first place is literally just to watch these actors do what they are so damn good at, and that is acting. And I guess I can start with what I didn't like, which personally is not much. It's literally just, I felt like the story was pretty choppy. And like I said, the way the trailers present the film, you would think Jodie Comer is the focal point of this entire thing, and it's kind of like her story, and it's being told from her perspective, which it is, because basically what's going on is Mike Feist plays a journalist who is asking all of these questions, asking people different parts of the stories about this biker gang so he can write a book, and mainly a lot of the chunk of the story is coming from Jodie Comer. But it's just throughout the film, there are times where you're literally fixated on the biker gang themselves, and you're watching their expansion and how it's getting out of control and how they're just getting bigger. Then you're watching some parts with it. They have like family dynamics and family aspects to the biker gang. It's just kind of told in a lot of chopped up pieces that kind of just aren't meshed together very well, if that makes sense. I thought the story structure would be a little bit better and told in a more congruent, like just a flowing pace, not necessarily just felt like it was chopped up and things were just kind of put in any old order. That's kind of how the story felt to me. It was being told at times, just kind of put in any old order, and they were just telling it how they saw fit. And then on top of that, the writing itself. The reason the writing kind of stood out to me is because there are various monologues in this movie where I find myself not really paying attention to the words that are being said, but more so the person who is saying them, which is a testament to the performance. The performance is amazing, but the writing I just felt could have been a lot stronger, or I thought was going to be a lot stronger. I truly, when I saw the trailer for this movie, I had Oscar nomination in my head. I had Oscar contender in my head. Like watching this trailer, that's the idea that I got from this movie, so that's what I was holding it to. I was holding it to Oscar standards, and it did not meet those standards, but it still is a pretty good movie. But it is mainly, actually it's probably only for the performances themselves, and starting with Tom Hardy. Like I said in my intro, I do not know where this guy continues to get these crazy ass accents from, but once again, he is not only just taking on that accent to full extent, but the mannerisms, the body language, everything about Tom Hardy's character Johnny in this movie was to be in awe of. Truly something to be in absolute awe of, because Tom Hardy is just doing what Tom Hardy does, and that's just completely show up and take an entire screen over. He's such a great screen presence, even when he's not saying anything. There is literally a part in this movie where they're having a meeting as the biker gang, and Tom Hardy's not even speaking. He's just sitting there with his arms folded, just not even looking at anybody, just letting everybody talk and ramble and say whatever. And then his assistant is the one who is mainly talking, trying to get his points out to talk. He's basically speaking on behalf of Johnny. Johnny's just sitting there not saying anything, arms folded, literally just says, "Shut the fuck up!" Just completely bams. "Shut the fuck up!" That's all he says. And the entire time, even from when his arms was folded to the "shut the fuck up," I could never take my eyes off him. No pause. I could not take my eyes off Tom Hardy, because he is just that great of an actor, where you have to watch what he's doing 24/7 to truly understand where his character is coming from, what his character is thinking, what his character is doing. And another thing I absolutely loved about him, Tom Hardy, and Austin Butler's performances is their faces. How they did not give much away, how they did not have much emotion. They didn't give away what they were thinking. Like, there was a lot of times where people would ask Tom Hardy's character, "What's wrong? What do you need?" He would always say, "Nothing. I don't need nothing." And he, like, you would just think he needs, like, he needs something, but it's just, he just does not want to reveal being vulnerable. Like, it's just, like, Tom Hardy is so damn good in this movie. And beyond that, I'm going to talk about Austin Butler, because my personal favorite part of the movie, I'll talk about her in a second. But Austin Butler, once again, has proven why he is a rising star in Hollywood. He is honestly on his way up. I would say Austin Butler is probably in B plus tier right now. Like he's almost an A. He's almost there. I think maybe there just needs to be like one more smash hit for him, and then he'll move right into that A list. But right now he's kind of in the B plus tier and he's killing it. He is rising very fast, and this is a performance that is definitely going to be one for the history books for him. This is one of his best performances thus far. I truly enjoyed everything Austin Butler did in this movie. Again, credit to him and Tom Hardy's relationship. Their chemistry was off the charts. You definitely believed their brotherly love for one another. You believed their relationship. You absolutely just kind of with the same as Tom Hardy, when you couldn't necessarily take your eyes off of what Austin Butler is doing. Just the long gazes. It's like I'm not gonna lie to you, like a lot of the long pauses and the long just gazes that Austin Butler's character does, you would think he's doing cologne commercials. Honestly, in a lot of the movie, he looks like he's doing a commercial for Dior, for cologne, like for just Versace, all these different colognes. Like you would think it's a cologne commercial, but beyond that, his performance was very good. It was not one of my. I thought it was going to be one of my favorites, but nah. Austin Butler. If I had to rank performances, Austin Butler's definitely in my top 5. But my number 1 is Jodie Comer. Jodie Comer. Like I'm not going to stop saying that girl's name because she is ridiculous. I mean, this girl is truly ridiculous. When I first saw Jodie Comer in Free Guy, I knew there was just some sort of fun aura about her that was going to have her stick around for a while. But then I watched The Last Duel. Then I saw her in The Last Duel and I realized that this girl is actually going to be a megastar. She's probably the next up and coming of Emma Stone. Like, she is just one of those creative, wacky, ridiculous actors that just has a surplus of talent. She can do so many voices, so many accents, so many just things with her body. She can truly transform into her character, and it's a tremendous sight to see watching Jodie Comer work. I am an immense fan of hers, and if you have not seen Killing Eve on Netflix, please go do so immediately because it is truly worth your time. It's worth every single fucking second just for Jodie Comer. Jodie Comer is tremendous. I loved her in this movie. Like I said, it was personally not a big... I wasn't like the biggest fan of the way the story was told because I just felt like it was told in very chopped up, out of sort pieces, and they kind of just put those pieces together. But when Jodie Comer was doing her thing, when Jodie Comer was doing what I consider just to be absolute art and brilliance at this point, I was absolutely just overwhelmed with emotion. I was overwhelmed with joy, overwhelmed with happiness, overwhelmed with motivation, because I aspire to be so comfortable with myself to be able to just pull off performances like that someday. Jodie Comer, man, she truly is something to be in awe of. And I mean, what more can I say about that girl? She was absolutely phenomenal. As far as my rankings for these characters themselves, Jodie Comer would probably be 1. Tom Hardy's definitely 2. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, Boyd Holbrook as Cal is probably my number 3, just due to the fact that this dude went through a serious body transformation. He looks skinny as fuck, way skinnier than I've seen him in any of his other movies, but he truly did a great job in this movie, and the most underrated performance in this film. A guy that really did not have a lot to say, but truly took my breath away. It was Michael Shannon. There is a moment when Michael Shannon is literally just telling this story to Mike Fice's character about how he hates, I think he calls them pinkos, guys that went to college and things like that, guys that wear the polo t-shirts and shorts. He was talking to him about that, and that moment is so wholesome, so amazing. I loved Michael Shannon's character. Michael Shannon was so good in this movie, and then Austin Butler would probably be fifth. And I know that's pretty low for Austin Butler, but just personally, that's where I have him. That's where I have Austin Butler. But all the performances in this movie are to be in awe of. Well, all of them except one. Okay, so the antagonist in this movie, or as they call his name is the character's name as I'm saying it is literally the Kid, played by Toby Wallace. I was not the biggest fan of his character because I was not 100% sold on what his character's purpose and motivation was. I was not truly sold on what his character was doing. I wasn't sold on the progression and the development that his character was supposed to go to get to this point. Now, when he does what he does in the movie, which of course I'm not going to get into deeply, I'm not going to get into spoilers, but when he does what he does in the film itself, I knew that's where this movie was going. Like I said, it's pretty predictable. You know, you've seen stories like this all the time where people create a group, the group stands for one thing when it's first made, then it gets expanded amongst other people, and then other people take those ideas, turn them into their own, and it just gets completely out of control and you can't contain it anymore. We've seen stories like that all the time, so it's pretty predictable of where this thing is going. And that's kind of where the movie kind of just lost me, because I really wish they would have done something else with this kid. Maybe build a little more, give me a little more time with this kid. I mean, they did everything. They did show an ample amount of background to his character, but for me personally, just to sum it up as best as I can, I just truly was not sold on what his character was supposed to be doing. It just was not something I felt like truly was earned. I don't think like what his character was doing in the film was truly earned. I just felt like it kind of just happened, but if that makes sense. But other than that, Mike Feist. I do have to talk about Mike Feist. I thought his character was going to play a bigger role in the movie. He was absolutely tremendous as a journalist. He was really good. Mike Feist just completely, like I said, a lot of these characters in this film, a lot of these people completely just transformed into these characters. Like they walk differently, they talk differently, obviously, because everybody has a different accent. But I mean, they truly just step into their characters and truly take over the entire embodiment of who their character is supposed to be. And it's amazing to see. Mike Feist definitely does that. It's because of what he did in Challengers. I think I was expecting a lot stronger performance or a lot more screen time. But for the screen time that he got, he did a really damn good job. But look, overall, The Bikeriders is a film that is truly, I don't necessarily want to use the word relying, but because of how weak the story and the writing is, which a movie like this truly needs the story and writing to be a lot stronger, because it's not necessarily a grand scale of a film. It's truly a down-to-earth, like realistic story that just, you know, like in order to be as powerful as you want it to be, or in order to tell a more enriching story, like you need the story and writing to be like top tier. You need like movies in basic settings like this, you really need the writing and the story to stand out, or the way things are being told. And it's okay. Like the story and writing are just okay, but this movie, I mean, it's not, like I said, I don't necessarily want to use the word relying, that this movie's relying on the performances, but I think the performances were just so good that at some point they was just like, yeah, I guess we are kind of relying on these performances to carry this film, because I mean everything else is just pretty average. I mean, like truly, like I said, when it came to the monologues specifically, I'm paying more attention to the person themselves than the words. And if you're able to make a great script, this is like the prime example of great writing and great acting, The Social Network. You're not only invested in what's being performed, but you're invested in what's being said. You can't like tune out. You can't tune out what's being said because you're so locked in. I wish this movie had that kind of writing where I was just locked in every time, but they damn sure had the performances for it. And look, while this movie didn't necessarily meet my expectations, it is still a very good movie. It's a good time at the movies, and truly, you are just here for the performances themselves. And I promise you, it is worth your time. And for all those reasons and so many more, I'm going to give the Bikeriders a 3.25 out of 5 stars. All right, guys, so the Bikeriders, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Look, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Look, be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff and so much more. I really do appreciate it. Look, this is your guy in the chair. More content coming to you soon.